These videos are made for the purpose of entertainment. These are not made to give you an excuse to harass the original creator. I do not condone the harassment or bullying of the creators featured in these videos.
A few months ago now, while scrolling on TikTok, as one does, I got an ad for one of those shitty werewolf romance novels called I Am the Luna. The little snippet I read baffled me enough that I went searching for it and found the story on a website called Good Novel. Good Novel? Honestly, the best way I can describe this website is bougie Wattpad, but calling it bougie is a stretch. It's a website where you can post your original stories and make money off of them. I've skimmed through some of the things that have been posted, and the most popular genre is the werewolf genre. But they do have others on here, like paranormal, urban/realistic, war, harem, and like 14 other genres. But werewolf is the most popular. I have decided that I'm going to make videos on some of the things I find on here, because they're so interesting. We'll go with that. And why not start with the story that introduced me to this site, I Am the Luna by Moonlight Muse. But I will not be going over the whole story, because I can't. For one, the story is ongoing. As of April 20th, 2024, when I started scripting this video, this book had 452 chapters. And for 2, you cannot read past the 5th chapter without paying 15 coins, which you have to buy with real money. And 100 coins costs $1. So that's 447 chapters I would have to pay for. 100 coins will buy 6 chapters. So I would need to spend, like $75 to be able to unlock all the current chapters? And God knows how many more chapters she's going to post before this story is finished. When I found this story on January 28th of this year, this story had 359 chapters. Thank you, Past Me, for sending a screenshot of this story on Discord. And it has been 3 months. And from what I've seen, because I've been checking up on this story, she updates this every fucking day. Moonlight Muse does have other books. She has 18 other books, all of which are listed on her website. Yes, she has a website. She sells merchandise for her books. So if people like this video, I could be persuaded to read one of her other books. That's complete. And not over 400 chapters long. Unless someone wants to give me like $200 to pay for the current chapters and chapters to come. But unless that happens, I am not reading all of I Am the Luna. No, I refuse to spend my own money to read this. Anyways, as you could probably guess, I Am the Luna is a werewolf romance. And allow me to read you the synopsis. Rejected for another, Zaya Toussaint's life comes shattering down around her when her husband divorces her for none other than his ex-girlfriend. Cast from her home and position, Zaya leaves the pack, carrying with her a secret that she hopes her husband never discovers. She's pregnant with his children. Sebastian King is the handsome and well-known alpha with a multi-millionaire empire, whose name is well known, not only in the werewolf world, but in the business world. He has it all: wealth, power, a huge pack, and above all, the perfect wife. A Luna who his entire pack and family have come to love. The return of his ex destroys their marriage, causing Sebastian to blindly cast his wife and mate from his life. What will happen when he learns about the secret she hides from him? Will he regret the decision he made by casting her aside? Will she forgive him? And will she ever take him back? So, it's an okay premise. It's got all the bones for a good romance drama story. Our main character is pregnant with her ex-husband's children, and she doesn't want him to find out because he left her for his ex-girlfriend. I can vibe with that. But that's where the vibes end, because I read the first 5 chapters and I have some fucking words. So we start this story off with our main character, Zaya, getting the news from her doctor that she is pregante. This is very exciting news for her because her and her husband, Sebastian, have been trying for a baby for 3 years now. So she gets into a car and tells her driver to take her home. From here we learn that Sebastian is the alpha of the Dark Hollows Fall Pack, which is apparently one of the largest packs on the eastern side of the state. Which, that's cool, I guess. I don't really like the pack name. I feel like you could have done better than Dark Hollow Falls, but that could just be me. It's giving Warrior Cats. Omegaverse style Warrior Cats fanfiction when? Anyways. Then we get to the part that fucking sent me when I first read it. Werewolves spend their entire lives searching and hoping to find their destined mates. As for me, I had a crush on Bastion from the moment I had seen him when I was 11 years old. The crush never went away, and when he turned out to be my fated mate, it had been a dream come true, and we had married. He desperately wanted an heir, and which alpha doesn't? I had just turned 18 when I found him, but he was 31 at the time. Many other alphas have sons who are already being trained to become the next alphas at his age. What kind of pedo fantasy bullshit is this? Excuse me? 11 years old. 11! When she was 11, he was 24. That is a 13-year age gap. Now, I wouldn't be as put off by this if they had both been adults when they fucking met. If she had been 25 and he had been 38, that's significantly better. They're both adults when they meet. It's still a fucking weird age gap, and I still don't fucking like it because that's 13 years. And that's not what I would consider a normal age gap for couples, but it's much less disturbing than what's actually here. What the author has written is fucking disgusting. You made the conscious decision to make an 11-year-old the fated mate, the soulmate to a 24-year-old man, and you thought that was the most romantic meet cute ever. And you had them get married as soon as she turned 18 and immediately had them trying for kids. Any sane adult will not look at a teenager, because that's what she was. She was a fucking teenager, hence the teen in 18, and want to be with them in any romantic or sexual way. You are trying to get away with the fucking creepiness of this age gap by writing in that they're soulmates. They're meant to be together. But that doesn't make it any better. That makes it worse, actually. It's giving, you think the book Lolita is a romance. And if any of you think Lolita is a romance novel, leave immediately. We don't fuck with chomos on this channel. Because you're either a chomo or you're a chomo apologist if you think that book is a romance and you need to seek psychological help. Like, okay, I see and understand the appeal of age gap relationships in fiction, especially for women. You want an older man who's had a lot of experience and is well off so they can take care of you and stuff, right? I understand the appeal of having someone take care of you and love you and whatever. It's also the result of daddy issues. Don't lie! You bitches know it's the daddy issues. But age gap relationships are wildly different when the age gap you are romanticizing is illegal or barely legal. Fucking stop it. Oh my god. If you want to write an age gap relationship, make them both adults when they meet. Do not write this shit. Do not write it so these characters have known each other since she was a child and he was a fully grown adult and she turned 18 and they got together. That's fucking nasty. Same goes for the other way around. He's a child and she's an adult when they meet and he grows up and they get together. That's fucking weird. And you're fucking weird if you write that. Anyways, I got off topic a little bit. This bit in the story just fucked me up really bad when I read it the first time, and I still feel like I've been bitch slapped reading it again. So after I had the horrific realization that they have a 13-year age gap, and got back to reading, Zaya gets back to the mansion she lives in and dismisses her maid because she wants to cook dinner for Sebastian, before she gives him the good news that she's pregnant. And then there's a weird sex joke. Which can't say I'm surprised, this is the Omegaverse. This genre was specifically developed for not safe for work content. But still, you're trying to make Zaya's relationship with Sebastian a good thing, but it's not. It's fucking weird, and it gets worse. So Zaya gets to work on making everything perfect so she can deliver the news when her husband gets home. Hours pass, and it's almost 9 p.m. when he's due to be home. 30 minutes pass. He's still not home. 30 more minutes pass. It's 10. He's still not home. 11 p.m. Motherfucker is still not home. Finally, well past midnight, Sebastian returns home. She rushes to the hall to greet him and throws herself at him. She notices he looks tired and isn't super enthusiastic when greeting her, and she just assumes he's had a hard day at work. A fair assumption. So he asks her why she's even awake at this hour, and she tells him that she was waiting for him to get home, and that she had made dinner and has something very important to tell him. He brushes her off, saying he has something to tell her, and let me just read this to you. I've already eaten, he replies, surprising me as heads towards the living room. I have something to tell you. Okay, you go first, I say, as he drops onto the sofa, stretching his long legs and resting his arm on the back of the sofa. I sit down beside him, knowing he would share something regarding the work meeting. After all, I am knowledgeable on these matters, and he'd often get my opinion on his ideas. However, there's something off. There's a coldness in his eyes as he looks into mine. Sebastian looks down at the file in his hands before he tosses it onto the table with a loud snap as it hits the table, makes me jump. I'm just realizing now that the grammar is really weird. Whatever. Read it. I take it uneasily and flip open the blank file, but the red words in bold print at the top of the first page make my blood run cold. Divorce agreement. I'm sure everyone who is into this genre saw this coming a mile away, but yes, this motherfucker is divorcing her. And why is he divorcing her, you may ask? Because Annalise has come back and rejoined the pack. Who is Annalise, you may be asking? If you remember the synopsis, Annalise is Sebastian's ex-girlfriend and Zaya's half-sister. So obviously, Zaya is devastated and asks Sebastian why he's leaving her when they've been married for 3 years, not to mention they're fated mates. But I am your mate, I whisper. How could he still care for Annalise? She was his past. We've been married for 3 years. Our marriage was a mistake from the very beginning. Back then, my father demanded that I marry my mate, but now I don't want to be bound by the goddess's arrangement. I don't see the point of fated mates. So Sebastian is a dickhead, and he just gets worse. All my homies hate Sebastian. Anyways, he goes on this fucking tangent about how his mother isn't his father's fated mate, but they still had him, a powerful alpha, and how he doesn't see the point in having a fated mate when it's clear you don't need your mate. And of course, this continues to follow every Omegaverse trope there is by Zaya saying that Annalise doesn't actually care about Sebastian, and how she just wants to be the Luna, she just wants power, and Sebastian freaks out on Zaya and accuses her of just wanting to be Luna because she knew that her sister was his girlfriend, but she still took him from her and accepted the marriage proposal and betrayed her sister. And the fuck else is she supposed to do? You're her soulmate and she wants to be with you, and it's not a stupid assumption that you, her soulmate, would want to be with her too. Does he really think that is the truth? Annalise is my half-sister, and although she and Sebastian had dated, I know her truth, the real her that she hides behind her pretty face and doe eyes. Annalise only approached you because you were an alpha, Sebastian. She doesn't love you the way I do. She just wants to be Luna. He kicks the solid oak coffee table, making me jump as it's thrown over with a loud crash, hitting the wooden floor with a deafening bang that makes the ornaments in the glass cabinet shake. And what about you? You just want to be Luna, don't you? You knew that Annalise and I were in a relationship, yet you selfishly accepted the marriage anyway and betrayed your own sister by taking her man. You lied to me. She's told me everything. No, that's not true. Let me explain. Don't antagonize me, Zaya. You got what you wanted. You became my wife in Luna, but that wasn't enough for you. You forced Annalise from coming anywhere near this pack because you knew once she returned, I would learn everything. Yes, I didn't want Annalise to leave, but I never made her leave. She left of her own accord once she learned Sebastian had found his mate, but now it's almost as if she had been planning to return all this time. So she realizes after this exchange that he's always been suspicious of her, like she had completely played him just so she could have the title of Luna. And the fucking line after this, doesn't he realize I fell for him before he even knew he was an alpha? Oh, you mean when you were an 11-year-old girl and he was a 24-year-old man? I'm never going to get over that. That's so weird. So she asks him why he even bothered being with her if he never wanted her, and then asks him if he only got with her because his father basically told him to. He confirms this and tells Zaya that he would have rejected her then if it wasn't for his father, but he's doing it now for Annalise. Which, okay, loser boy. I don't understand why Sebastian's father would push for him to marry his fated mate if he himself didn't marry his fated mate. Doesn't seem like it's that important to Sebastian's dad unless he regrets not marrying his fated mate. It just doesn't make sense. God, take a shot every time I say fated mate. I feel like I've said it so many times already. Okay, blah, blah, blah. He asks her to sign the papers and to not drag this out, and asks her what she wanted to tell him. She says it's not important anymore. She stands and tells him she'll sign the papers and get them back to him ASAP. He tells her she could stay in the mansion for the night and Annalise won't be moving in until she's gone because he doesn't want to make Annalise too uncomfortable. And then the chapter ends with her smiling at him and telling him he doesn't have to worry and she'll be gone soon and to say hi to Annalise for her. When I first read this chapter, I was intrigued, but not in a good way. It's like seeing a car crash. You just can't bring yourself to look away. That's how I felt reading the first chapter. And that's the only thing that kept me reading. I wanted to see how bad this got. And it got worse. So the next day, Zaya is depressed. Obviously, her husband is leaving her for her evil half-sister, and she's pregnant with her husband's kid. Not a great start to the day. Zaya monologues about how Sebastian left the house last night, probably to go see Annalise. And now Zaya is staring at the divorce papers and the alimony payment of $5 million. And thinks about how she doesn't need his money because nothing will make the pain of losing her mate go away or something. And then she gets up and stares at herself, and we get a description of what she looks like. Staring back at me is the creamy skin with freckles and long ginger locks which, despite being hard to maintain, I never considered cutting because Sebastian liked it. My pouty lips aren't anywhere near as big as Annalise's, but the most prominent feature of mine is probably my amethyst-colored eyes. I guess this was thrown in here to give us an idea of what she looks like, but personally, I think this is kind of tacky. Having the main character describe how pretty she is, and then going on to talk about how when she was in college and university, everybody wanted to date her because she was so pretty, and she was the daughter of a powerful alpha. It feels vain. This could just be a me thing, but I've seen this same thing so many times in so many other stories. It's just tiring. I feel like there's a better way to go about giving your readers a description of what your character looks like than just dedicating a paragraph to the main character explaining what they look like. It really reminds me of how first-time writers will go about giving the readers a description of the main character. Really, this whole story feels like Baby's first book. It's filled with every trope imaginable. The characters' actions, a lot of the times, don't make any fucking sense, not to mention the entire plot is just kind of boring. This whole trope of, my fated mate rejected me for another woman and I'm so sad now, but I can't let them know I'm sad. And then, spoiler, having her fated mate get pissed off and upset that the main character accepted their rejection and acting like they wanted them all along is stupid and boring, and you do nothing to make this more interesting. Yes, she's pregnant with, more spoilers, but I don't think anybody watching cares, twins! But that is the bare minimum to make it a little bit more interesting. But overall, I could read so many other stories for free that have this same plot and that are more interesting than this book. Oh, and that are shorter than this book. Over 400 chapters? That's insane. But maybe I'm jumping the gun. Maybe I'm judging too harshly for only having read 5 chapters. But also I doubt it. If this is how the story starts, I have very little hope that past chapter 5 it gets any better or any more interesting than it is now. Anyways, Zaya takes the papers and goes downstairs and is greeted by her maid, Emma. Emma asks if Sebastian had come home last night, and Zaya lies to her and tells her that he had, but she had fallen asleep. Emma notes that Zaya looks pale and asks if anything is wrong, and before Zaya can answer, she gets a call from her doctor and close friend, Valerie. Valerie requests that Zaya come back for some additional tests, and this makes Zaya's anxiety spike, so she rushes to her car and tells her driver to take her to the hospital. Once again, she is asked if she is okay, and she lies again and says she's just meeting Valerie for brunch. So Zaya gets to the hospital and meets up with Valerie, and Valerie tells Zaya that she thinks it's best if she keeps the pregnancy a secret for now. Zaya agrees, though for completely different reasons than Valerie has. So they go back and Valerie does a scan of Zaya's stomach and reveals that Zaya's health is actually kinda bad, which is weird because she comes from a strong bloodline. But she's worried because it can affect the growth of the children. And this is where it's revealed that Zaya is pregnant with twins. Yay! But now Zaya is worried that she'll lose the children, with her health not being great. And now, her being stressed and upset about her husband leaving her, she asks Valerie if a rejection can harm a pregnancy. Which obviously causes Valerie to be a little sussed out about the question, but she answers nonetheless. No, Zaya, it won't harm the children, but it will surely hurt the mother, and if the mother is already weak, for example, like yourself, she may never be able to carry another child again. Oh no! Zaya might not be able to carry any more children if this rejection hurts her body enough. No! Anyways, she starts making her way back home. She dismissed her driver and decided to walk. I assume so she could be alone with her thoughts for a while. And then we get a flashback! The author even puts flashback in fucking brackets. And when the flashback ends, she puts end of flashback in brackets. This website really is just bougie Wattpad. Oh my god. Flashback. When we have a child, I hope that they look just like you. Me? I ask, surprised, as he pulls me into his lap and runs his fingers through my hair. Yes, my beautiful fire pixie. Oh, I can't take this shit seriously. Yes, my beautiful fire pixie, and I hope they have hair just like you too, he replies, kissing my neck. Don't touch me. My heart skips a beat as I tilt my head. I didn't really feel confident with my flaming orange hair, but Sebastian loved it, saying it reminded him of a phoenix. Zion, he says as he caresses my cheek, but it's his next word that makes my eyes widen in shock. That will be the name of our son. End of flashback. Which, don't know why that last bit made your eyes widen in shock, but okay, sure. So as Zaya is thinking about this memory, she gets a spark of hope that maybe this pregnancy will make Sebastian reconsider the divorce, because he was so excited to have kids with Zaya, and he deserves to know about this pregnancy. So she changes route from home and heads to the pack hall to talk with Sebastian, which isn't a big route change. Her home and the pack hall are right next to each other. But she makes her way up to the floor where Sebastian's office is and gets ready to speak with him. But she stops when she notices that her half-sister is sitting on his desk, laughing about something. And upon seeing her half-sister, Zaya wonders if Sebastian took a liking to her because she reminded him of her half-sister. Which, based on the description of Annalise, I don't see how you came to that conclusion. You two look nothing alike. Zaya has pale skin with freckles, long, curly red hair, and amethyst eyes. Annalise is taller, slimmer, has long blonde hair, and blue eyes. Then Zaya overhears what they're saying, and I'm just gonna read this out to you, cause it's something. Oh, Seb, I can't help but be worried that you are really in love with my sister. Annalise's voice makes me look up sharply. A sliver of irritation rushes through me. I am still the Luna and his wife, and until I have signed those papers, he is still mine. How dare she? I'm unable to hold back the anger I feel as I stride down the carpeted hall. Don't be mistaken, Sebastian replies. I falter as Annalise laughs. The tinkling sound like nails scraping down a chalkboard to me, and I clench my teeth as I stare through the gap in the door. So are you saying that in the past 3 years you never developed any feelings for her? There's silence, and I place my hand on the wall, hoping he doesn't shatter my resolve entirely. Not at all. It was simply a 3 years late rejection, something I should have done long ago. His cold reply comes. My breath hitches, and I try not to let the overwhelming rejection squeeze at my heart. Oh, that makes me so relieved, especially considering we can finally return to how things used to be before she came between us. It just keeps going from there. They're just low-key shit-talking Zaya, and Zaya is standing there hidden from view, wondering what she did to be treated this way, because even though Sebastian's dad had pushed for them to get married when it was discovered they were mates, he never seemed unhappy in the relationship. And as she's standing there, she watches him flirt with Annalise, and she decides that she can't go through with telling him about her children, fearing he would just take them away from her, so she turns and runs back down the stairs and out the building, all while bawling her eyes out. So that's cool. This is going really fast, and it does make me wonder if this drama of Zaya being thrown out by her husband and her half-sister destroying her life is going by so fast. What are the other 400 plus chapters even about? Like, the whole fucking synopsis makes it seem like this whole story is about this man rejecting his wife, regretting it, and trying to win her back. And I know there's more. She has the twins, the sister is something that has to be dealt with, but I don't feel like any of those plot lines need 400 plus chapters to get through and wrap up. Which makes me think that this story in particular has so many chapters just to make money. Remember, you have to buy every chapter after chapter 5, and so far this story has 288 ratings and 1.6 million views. So let's assume each person who rated this story, so 288 people, have paid to read the whole story so far. So, if my math is right, which it might not be, I'm really bad at math, $75 to unlock the rest of the chapters, so that's $21,600 this author has made off this story alone. I assume. I don't know how the taxing works on this website. But that's still a lot of fucking money! So I think this story is being drug out for the money. But that is just an assumption, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I would have to read the rest of this to see if this story is being drug out or not, and to see how the plot progresses, but again, I'm not going to do that unless someone gives me the money to do that, because I can't afford it by myself. My money has to go to other things, like food, and my cat. Say hello to Smudge. Now let's take a quick break to talk about this video's sponsor! It's me. I'm my own sponsor. I don't promote my stuff enough, so I'm going to start doing it now. I sell sticker designs and stuff on Threadless. I only have 2 designs up now, an Axel Squishmallow design, and this I am filled with bread and regret sticker. I am going to be making more designs to sell. I would have made more already, but I highkey forgot I had a Threadless account. So go check it out, and keep an eye out for what I post in the future. Oh, and I also have a Ko-fi account, if you just want to throw some money at me to support my garbage and encourage me to make more garbage. A link to my Threadless and my Ko-fi can be found in the description below, along with all of my other social media accounts. Okay, back to your regularly scheduled garbage. So Zaya gets back home and starts packing her things. Just the bare essentials so she can be out of there quicker. She writes a note to the maid Emma to thank her for her services, and then sits down to sign the divorce papers. Zaya then grabs her phone and looks at her mother's phone number, and we learn that Zaya hadn't spoken to her mother in a while because her mother was against Zaya marrying Sebastian. But she knows that if anyone is going to understand her situation, it's her mom, because Zaya's father had left her mother for another woman, Annalise's mother. Zaya's parents were fated mates, but he left her for Annalise's mom, and her and Annalise were born days apart. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, so Sebastian is just a fucking chomo then. Zaya and Sebastian got married as soon as she turned 18. That's when the mate bond had kicked in, right? And Sebastian was dating Annalise before the mate bond between him and Zaya kicked in. I am disgusted. How long had he been with Annalise before he got with Zaya? How fucking long, Moonlight Muse? How long did you have Sebastian grooming and abusing Annalise, Moonlight Muse? God, and you have the fucking audacity to write Annalise as a fucking evil villain? Like, yes, Annalise is a cunt, but Sebastian has been grooming her, and then her groomer, the man who probably made her reliant on him, left her for her fucking sister of the same age. Justice for Annalise. If you want to write an evil bitch of a villain that's trying to destroy another woman's life for a fucking man, you could at least not make her an abuse victim. So then we learn that Annalise's mom purposely drove a rift between Zaya and her dad because Annalise's mom didn't like that he was so close with his other child. For reasons, I guess. And then I guess that Zaya's dad tried to get her to not be with her fated mate so Annalise could be with him, which... good to know that the dad is totally okay with his daughter being with a chomo. That's great. And even fucking disowned Zaya for it. Like, let me read this shit to you because my jaw dropped. When I was little, we were close, but my stepmother didn't like it and always instigated him against me and tried to cause a rift between us. In the end, she succeeded. Even though I was raised with luxuries and given the best education, our relationship simply became a formality to him, a responsibility he no longer wanted. As I grew up, my father kept in contact. Of course, he'd even drop by on my birthdays, but the moment I refused to give up Sebastian for Annalise, he had disowned me too. Like, if anyone should be the villain of this story, it should be Annalise's mother, because this woman sounds like a bitch. Annalise shouldn't be the villain because she's a victim. And that's not to say that people who were victims of horrible things like grooming can't turn out to be shit people, because they can. I know a handful of people who were groomed who are just pieces of fucking shit garbage people. Just because you had horrible things happen to you doesn't mean you now get a free pass to be a shit person. You know? But so far, I haven't been given a real reason to hate Annalise. All I can see when I read about this character and learn the story behind her, Zaya, their family, and Sebastian, all I can see is a girl who was most likely spoiled rotten by her parents, so she grew up not learning how to be a proper fucking person. She thinks she can get whatever she wants, cause that's what she was taught, and is a fucking grooming victim. I just feel bad for her. She was done wrong by her parents. They taught her to be spoiled, and they allowed this fucking 20-something-year-old man to assault and abuse their daughter. May I remind everyone that they have a 13-year age gap. When he was 24, she was 11. Please allow that to sit with you for a bit. Has it sat with you long enough yet? I fucking hope so, and if I see anyone defending the author for writing this shit or trying to defend Sebastian and shame Annalise, just know I will not hold back and I will fucking put you on blast. I don't care that this is a fictional story. The fact that Moonlight Muse wrote this and thought that having a 30-year-old man marry an 18-year-old and immediately try for kids, thought that having a 20-something-year-old man be with a literal child, because God knows how long Sebastian and Annalise were together before he married Zaya, was okay or romantic in any sense of the fucking word, is fucking gross. And unless in the 400 plus chapters there's a big twist where Annalise is one of the protagonists and Sebastian becomes just straight up an antagonist because everyone realized that he was with people 13 years younger than him when they were children nonetheless, I don't want to hear any defense of this author at all. None. Absolutely fucking zero. You hear me? Hope I've made myself clear on why this is gross. Back to the story. Zaya doesn't call her mother and instead decides to just show up at her house and ask to stay with her for a while. So Zaya leaves her wedding ring on the table with the divorce papers, looks back at the house one final time, and then leaves the house. She asks her driver Ethan to take her to her mother's house, but not before she gets a sharp pain in her chest, and that nearly causes her to keel over, and Ethan has to help her get to the car. She tells him where her mother lives, and she can no longer keep the tears back, so she's just in the backseat, crying her eyes out as they make their way to her mom's. So they finally arrive, and Ethan, like the gentleman he is, opens the door for Zaya and gets her bags for her. She hands him an envelope saying it's a token of gratitude for all he's done for her and bids him farewell. He hesitantly leaves, and when he does, Zaya makes her way to the front door and knocks, though she is very nervous. And she's debating on if she should just go to a hotel, and she almost grabs her bags and runs away from the house. But before she can, her mother opens the door. Her mom is obviously shocked to see her daughter standing on her doorstep with suitcases and asks her what's wrong. Which was the question that gets Zaya to break the fuck down. So her mom ushers her inside, and they just stand there and hug for a bit as Zaya is bawling her eyes out. 10 minutes later, they're sat down and Zaya is blowing her nose. During that whole little cry fest, Zaya managed to tell her mom what happened, and her mom asks if Sebastian knows that she's pregnant, and she says no. And let me read this little bit to you guys, because it's a lot. I shake my head. No, there's no point, Mom. He is completely smitten with Annalise now that she's back. I don't think I should use these babies to trap him in a marriage he clearly wants no part in. Mom sighs and nods her head. If you don't want him to know, then we'll keep it a secret. Babies are never the way to keep a man. He once dropped Annalise for you. Even if he remains with you temporarily because of the children, he will drop you one day, just as he has done now. Mom, we were destined mates. You know how important that is. I did not think he'd do this, I protest. It's not like I stole anything that did not belong to me. She sighs, patting my arm. Yes, dear, I do, but only relying on the mate bond is not enough to keep a couple together. You knew this, but you had fallen in love with him and chose to ignore that, but he clearly didn't care enough. Wow, the predator didn't care about his second victim. Shocking. Also, what's the fucking point in having fated mates? People you're meant to be with? Your fucking soulmate? If you could just break that bond whenever the fuck you feel like it? That's like the one thing about soulmate AUs and stuff that never made sense to me. I guess it's because human emotions are complicated and to add some ability to have drama in these stories, but it seems weird to me. I don't know. So Zaya's mom asks if he's rejected Zaya yet, and if his rejection will hurt the babies, which Zaya informs her that no, he has not, but he will most likely soon, and no, it won't hurt the babies, but it could make her infertile. And then Zaya's mom jumps to, well, we can't let him reject you then because it'll ruin your chances to be a mom, which Zaya retorts that she's still going to have the two she's pregnant with. Don't know what the mom thought Zaya was going to do with them, but okay, and she hopes that her mom can support her decision to let Sebastian go and keep the pregnancy a secret. And then... No, I can't explain this, I just need to read it to you. Very well. I don't think you need him. Tomorrow go and be over and done with him. Then you could focus on yourself and your children. You are still young, Zaya. You will find someone better. Will I? Then tell me, Mom. Why haven't you moved on? She stands up, my words clearly upsetting her. My situation was different. This is just so ridiculous to me. You'll find someone better than him. Will I? Why haven't you found anyone different, Mom? Well, my situation was different. Like, how was it different? The only difference is, he got someone pregnant around the same time he got you pregnant, Zaya's mom. I don't see how these two situations were all that different from each other. Unless there's something we don't know about Zaya's parents and the floozy. But if there is something, it's trapped behind a paywall, so we may never know. Anywho, Zaya's mom promises Zaya that she'll keep her and the baby safe, and once the rejection is over with, they're going to move out of pact territory far enough away so Sebastian will never find them again, and won't be able to hurt them or take the children away if he finds out they exist. So Zaya goes upstairs to a room and calls Sebastian to let him know that she signed the papers and she's left the home, and then he tells her to be at his office at 9 sharp so they can hold the rejection. She agrees. He hangs up the phone, and the chapter ends on this little note. I hang up, my heart pounding against my ribs, matching the rhythm of the clock that hangs ominously on the wall. He doesn't even regret his decision, not even one bit. He doesn't even regret his decision. I would like everyone to keep this little tidbit in mind because the shit that happens pisses me off so much. The next day, Zaya makes her way to the pack hall to get the rejection over with. Sebastian offers to send a car to get her, but she tells him no and has her mother take her instead. Zaya makes her way up to Sebastian's office, and just as she's about to walk in, she hears Annalise begging Sebastian to stay in the office to witness the rejection. But Sebastian tells her no, and Annalise kind of gets pouty about it and opens the door, and her and Zaya are face to face. Dun dun dun. She looks over me, a smug smile on her pretty face. but it just makes her look ugly. She doesn't say a word, her shoulder hitting mine as she walks out. I glance at her back as she hums to herself. Of course, for her, this rejection is something to celebrate. Also, hey, quick side note, I haven't looked at enough stories on Good Novel to see if this is just a website issue or not, but why is there so much space between the apostrophe and the letter after the apostrophe? It's bothering me. I don't like it. If that's an author problem, please fix it. It's so annoying. If it's a website problem, please fix it. It's so annoying. Anyways, Annalise is smug about winning, and Zaya goes into Sebastian's office. He stands from his desk and offers her a drink, to which she declines, because she's pregnant. But she doesn't say that. She just says no thank you, to which he gets pissy about her saying no to a drink. He could save the wine and celebrate with Annalise. His mood instantly darkens at my refusal as he pours himself a full glass, downing it in one go. Then let us get this rejection over with, he says coldly, placing his glass down harder than necessary. Like, simmer down, piss baby. You don't have a right to be upset right now. And ooh, we're coming up to the part that pisses me off so fucking much. And there's more after it too, just this is a trope in this particular genre that I don't understand and I fucking despise. Let me read this shit to you. Also, sorry if I start chuckling, because while this little bit does piss me off, I cannot take the rejection speeches in this genre seriously at all. They're fucking goofy. Alpha Sebastian. No, see, already I fucking can't deal with this shit. Alpha Sebastian King of the Dark Hollow Falls Pack, reject you, Zaya Croissant? She's Zaya Croissant now. As my mate and Luna. I gasp as pain rips at my chest and I feel the violent pull of the bond tear through me. But I keep my head up, refusing to feed Annalise's smug look of victory when they laugh over this moment together. Sebastian is watching me, almost as if he doesn't think I can do it. Zaya Toisan, former Luna of the Dark Hollow Falls Pack, accept your rejection, Alpha Sebastian King. A whimper leaves my lips as I feel the final threads of the bond between us break, and I'm left in agony. I clutch my neck, feeling it burn. You accepted, he murmurs in the distance, but I can't focus as the pain heightens. I'm struggling to breathe. My vision darkens, and I turn my head to look at the man I once called my own. Did you catch it? Do you see what this author is trying to set up? I'll give you a second to think about it before I spoil it. Okay, your second is over. What Moonlight Muse is setting up is a stupidly popular trope in this genre, and I don't really understand why. But Sebastian regrets and never really wanted Zaya to accept his rejection, which I don't fucking understand because ever since Annalise came back, he's treated Zaya like shit, demanded a divorce, acted as if he doesn't give a singular fuck about her, and then he has the audacity to act surprised that she didn't deny his rejection, that she didn't fight for him, or something. I don't even understand what this trope is trying to do other than piss me off. Is it a weird fucking spin on the playing hard to get trope? Someone please explain it to me in crayon eating terms. What the fuck is with this trope? Because I do not understand why you would write a character to treat their soulmate like shit, reject their soulmate, and then have them act surprised when their soulmate accepts the rejection and breaks the soul bound. Like, what is the point of this? I hate it. Fucking anyways, Zaya passed out and wakes up in the hospital. She wakes up to see her mom and Valerie talking to each other. Valerie wants to run some tests to make sure Zaya and the babies are okay, and then she has the audacity to scold Zaya about letting Sebastian reject her. Like, I'm sorry, what the fuck else was she supposed to do? Let this fucking man who is leaving her for someone else and who treated her like shit since the other woman came back to continue to treat her like shit and to stay bound to him? Shut up, Valerie, you're stupid. Also, yay! We could call Zaya's mom an actual name instead of Zaya's mom! Her name is Miss Walker, so I'm going to call her that from now on so I can stop saying Zaya's mom. So he rejected you and you let him? Why didn't you tell him you are pregnant? Because it's none of his business, Valerie! Okay, I know it is his business, those are his kids, unfortunately, but also he's leaving her for her sister and he's a chomo. No one cares what he thinks and he shouldn't have access to those kids, period. Not much happens, just Miss Walker and Zaya talking about what they're going to do now that the rejection is over with, and Zaya being heartbroken over all of this, and then fucking Annalise just shows up, which Moonlight Muse is trying really hard to write her as this invasive, snooty bitch. Annalise is being an obnoxious prat in this scene, and she does deserve to be smacked upside the head for what she says here, but I just can't bring myself to completely hate the character like Muse wants us to. While Annalise is there, bragging and being a brat, she reveals that apparently Sebastian had been seeing Annalise behind Zaya's back long enough for Annalise to become pregnant, and Zaya is shocked that Sebastian cheated on her, which, considering everything else that has happened thus far, don't know why she's so surprised, but maybe that's just me. Oh, so it's true! You pretended to fade just so you could gain sympathy and delay the rejection, she sneers contemptuously. I bite the inside of my cheek as I look back at her. Don't worry, he rejected me and I accepted it. You won. I tried to hide my pain. For a mere second, she looks surprised before she smiles gleefully. Oh, well that's great, she says, strutting over to the bed. There is no place for you in our lives, especially since we're going to become parents soon. I gasp, unable to hide my hurt as I stare at her stomach as she strokes it gently. What? He cheated on me. Does it hurt, knowing your man was busy with me while you were playing a good little wife at home, she taunts. What do you think was happening all those nights he came home late? I'm seriously sitting here wondering how you managed to write, publish, and sell books. I feel like I'm reading a 13-year-old's Wattpad fanfiction. This is not at all helped when Mrs. Walker comes back into the room and roasts Annalise, and then Annalise hits her with the classic Draco Malfoy line, "My father will hear about this." It's so bad. Ah, look, a filthy cockroach made its way into the hospital room. The entire place needs sterilizing, she says, making Annalise spin around. Do you mean me? She asks accusingly. Of course I did. I have never seen an uglier roach in my life. You look just like your mother, Mom sneers, planting her hands on her hips. Do you think just by putting on some makeup and pretty clothes that you will become pretty? Your true colors show through. Now get out. My daughter is not well, and the doctor made it clear she should not be around vermin. I hide my smile as Annalise stands there, her mouth hanging open. My father will hear of this. So after that epic burn, which I've heard literal toddlers give out better roasts than this, Annalise leaves and Miss Walker and Zaya get ready to leave as well. And we get some internal dialogue of Zaya saying that Sebastian and Annalise can be happy together. And now we switch to Sebastian's point of view. I forgot to mention earlier, but these chapters have written at the top whose point of view we're reading from. So far, it's only been Zaya, but we're switching it up a bit. I don't want to read from Sebastian's point of view. This whole story should have just stayed Zaya's point of view. But no, can't have that because Sebastian is one of the love interests, and I still hate that. A lot. But on the bright side, we start this chapter with Sebastian's beta, chewing Sebastian out, and it's great. Are you still brooding? You know, Seb, I'm tired of having to nag you to get stuff done when you were always on top of it all. Why even reject her if you can't deal with it? The character who says this, his name is Jay. He's apparently Sebastian's best friend, but so far, he's my favorite. It's been 4 months since Zaya left, but he's been bitching and moaning and pouting since Zaya accepted his rejection. Which, I feel like I'm being gaslit. We all read the same chapters, right? We all read chapters 1 through 4, right? We all saw how he started treating her as soon as Annalise was back in the picture, right? He demanded Zaya sign those divorce papers. He told her to leave. He made it very clear that he didn't want her anymore. And now he's acting as if he just didn't do that. That it was all just a goof. Just a gaffe. And I never expected her to accept so easily. How could she just walk away without trying to fight for me? It felt like she was in a hurry to get rid of me. Like, huh? Motherfucker, what? And Jay rightfully calls this stupid motherfucker out. I didn't think she'd accept it, I mutter, flipping my phone distractedly between my fingers. Jay scoffs. Yeah, you just decided to hurt her for no real reason and wanted her to beg you to keep her. You hurt her by going back to your ex. Maybe the point of this chapter being in his point of view is to make us see how gaslighty and fucking weird this dude is, but I doubt that's the angle Muse is going for. I'm pretty sure she's trying to show that he never wanted to leave Zaya, which I don't have anything to say about that other than fuck off. Oh, and back to the age gap, because Sebastian thinks this shit, but what I don't get is why did she accept it so easily? I've known Zaya since before I found out she was my mate. She's always been a girl determined to get what she wanted, and she'd always had a crush on me. So when he was 24 and she was 11, he knew that this literal child had a crush on him, and he just fucking entertained the thought, I fucking guess. I'm going to throw up. How does that not make you uncomfortable as fuck? I had one of my ex-friend's kids tell me that he was going to marry me when he grew up. This kid was like 5, and he would not drop it for the whole fucking day, even though I tried to divert the conversation or explain that no, he's not, because I'm in my 20s, and he's much younger than me, and that's wrong for many reasons, and just thinking about it makes me sick to my fucking stomach. Doesn't help that his behavior was encouraged by his mom. But Sebastian knowing that this child had a crush on him for that long and still got married to her and tried to have kids with her is just so fucking nasty. How could you write this and not feel sick to your stomach at the implications? I cannot keep going on about how fucking gross this relationship is, but it's hard to stop talking about it when they keep bringing up shit like this. Jay brings up that Sebastian needs to talk to Annalise and stop her from coming to the pack hall because she is a fucking nightmare. Ordering everyone around, bothering everyone that's just trying to do their jobs, and just won't leave anyone alone. And Sebastian just tells him that everyone can just deal with it because he doesn't have time to waste on meaningless matters. Bitch, you allowed her to stay here. She's going to be your new Luna. She's your responsibility now. Oh, and it's here we learn that no one accepts Annalise as a member of the pack. And Sebastian tells Jay that he's the alpha and the pack should just go with what he says. And Jay says the funniest shit. You're an arrogant alpha hole. Fucking alpha hole. Muse, just write asshole. Please, you write smut books. Please just write asshole. Don't ever use alpha hole ever again. That shit is just so fucking cringe. A word I do not use often anymore, but there's no better word for it than cringe. This is fucking cringe. We learn through Jay that Sebastian hasn't even publicly announced that he divorced and even lied, saying that Zaya is in a different pack visiting family. And one of the big reasons he hasn't told anyone is because his father is going to be fucking pissed when he finds out. Which, good. I hope he beats your ass. We also get this little piece of internal dialogue of Sebastian saying that nothing had gone as planned, and his hands were tied, and he saw no other option than to reject her, which doesn't make sense, but okay, you keep telling yourself that, piss baby Sebastian. Jay goes on saying that Sebastian's parents are gonna be back soon, and they're gonna be pissed that he divorced and rejected Zaya, and goes on to talk about how beautiful and perfect Zaya is, and how he doesn't understand how Sebastian could do that to someone so perfect for some fake plastic bitch. Not his actual words, but I can read between the lines. And Sebastian gets super pissed off hearing another man compliment and talk about how pretty and perfect Zaya is, which Jay has now lost the title of favorite because now he's saying weird shit. I don't know how old he is, but I have to assume he's around the same age as Sebastian. So, in his 30s. Why must you write men to be predatory, Muse? Okay, fine. Her hot looks should have been enough. I mean, her body, she was perfect, and by that I mean those curves. Damn, you're crazy not to want to be enjoying that. I snarl as I slam my phone on the table. Watch it, I growl. He jumps a little, shocked at my outburst. My chest heaves as I try to control my rage. That's my woman you're talking about. Your ex-woman, Sebastian. Your ex. You rejected her. Remember? Jay is very quick to correct Sebastian, and even tells him that he's not going to claim Zaya, but if someone else does, Sebastian has no right to stop it from happening because he rejected her. He threw her away, basically. Doesn't matter if she was his mate or not, he rejected her and chose another woman, and then Jay storms out. Jay leaves, and we get this stupid fucking monologue about how Zaya's always been too good for him and his family, and he just wanted to protect her, and you can fuck off! Maybe if this was actually a decently written story, I could get behind the I was just trying to protect her trope. But no, the pacing for this and the storytelling is not good enough for you to try and gaslight us into thinking Sebastian is actually a really good dude who just wanted to protect his mate. You can actually fuck off. So during his stupid monologue, we learned that Annalise had come back and told him that Zaya had held her captive for 3 years and she had just managed to escape. 'Cause that makes sense. But the day Annalise returned and told me she had been kept captive for 3 long years had shaken me. She had managed to escape, but when she told me she had overheard them mention the one who had ordered her kidnapping, I had lost it. It was none other than Zaya. I didn't believe it straight away. How could I? I had first checked our bank statements. Sure enough, every month she was paying an isolated bank account a large sum of money. With my money. She had fallen to such levels just to keep Annalise away from me, and her true colors were revealed when she had accepted my rejection so easily. Only someone cold-hearted was capable of that. You can't see it, but I am rolling my eyes so hard right now. Way to have critical thinking skills, Sebastian. Anyways, Jay bursts back into the room with a file in his hand. He's pale. He's shaking. He's clearly upset. And Valerie rushes in after him, begging him, "Please don't." Jay doesn't listen and hands Sebastian the file in his hand. Valerie snatches it away and tries to leave, but Jay won't let her, and it's eventually revealed to Sebastian that Zaya is pregnant. And this is the end of that chapter, and the end of the free chapters. Can't read anymore without paying. Okay, I had to take a break. 1, because my voice was just slowly dying on me throughout the whole video. No idea why I'm so raspy throughout this video. Sorry about that. No idea what the fuck is going on. Also, sorry for switching between Zaya and Zaya whenever I said the main character's name. I tried to stick with Zaya, but I kept switching because her name is weird and I can't decide on how it's pronounced. Anyways, I decided to go look through the reviews to see if anyone said anything about what happens later in the book, and I came across this review. Loved S and S, even though Zaya kind of annoyed me at some points. But let me tell you, I'm obsessed with V and Z. Definitely recommend reading all the way till the 3rd book. I hate having to wait for more chapters, but ugh, it's so good. So I guess this book is so long because it's multiple books in one. And this whole story doesn't just follow Zaya and Sebastian, it goes through multiple character stories. Which I am not opposed to, but I do wish that the description of the fucking book had said something about that. I thought this whole book was about Zaya's story, but no, it's not. Because this post on Good Novel is 3 books in one, and that's why it's 400 chapters long. At least that's what I'm pretty sure this review is saying. I'm like 95% sure. The reviews didn't give me anything to work with. It's just review after review of people saying how good the book is and how amazing the author is. And you all need to read better books if you think this book is amazing. I've read better on fanfiction.net. There's also a review of another author saying Moonlight Muse's book covers are amazing, which I will get back to because I have some things to say about the book covers. I decided after going through the reviews to go through the catalog, where you could see the list for all the chapters and like a sentence of the chapter. I just wanted to see if I could get somewhat of an idea of what happens in the book without having to read the entire thing. I just skimmed for the most part, but chapter 448. The first sentence is just straight up not safe for work content. Which doesn't surprise me too much. It seems like this author is primarily an adult content author, but what does surprise me is this book is rated 16 plus. Now, I know that teenagers are going to be looking at not safe for work content or making their own, right? That's just what a lot of teenagers do. It is a fact of life. But you shouldn't be marketing literal adult content towards fucking minors. This is not a 16 plus book, and if your other books are like this, they aren't 16 plus either. This is an 18 plus story. This is adult fiction. I don't know how old Moonlight Muse is. It doesn't say in her biography. All it says is she's a British author, but if I had to take a guess based on her books and her website and all her socials, she is a middle-aged woman. And if she is a middle-aged woman making this kind of content and marketing it as for ages 16 up, that's fucking weird. You're fucking weird. Anyways, I didn't get much out of skimming the catalog. I was mostly just confused because obviously I'm missing a lot of context. Figured I would give it a shot anyways, but the story itself is mid. Like I said a few times, this is a pretty generic storyline in the Omegaverse genre. Main character gets rejected by their fated mate because they want another person. Fated mate gets mad about it, or sad. Main character leaves for a period of time and then the main character and ex-fated mate reunite. Drama ensues. Sometimes the main character gets with another. Sometimes the main character actually gets with their ex-fated mate. Overall, a pretty generic storyline, but has the potential for lots of fun drama if you know how to spice it up and make it interesting. Which, based on the little bit I have read, I Am the Luna does not do a good job of spicing this generic plot up enough to make it stand out from the literal hundreds of other books just like this one. The only thing that makes it stand out to me is the absolutely disgusting age gap between Zaya and the main love interest, Sebastian. And that is not a good thing. Whether it's your intention or not, writing an age gap in your romance smut novel and having the main character meet her love interest when she was 11 years old and he was 24 romanticizes grooming and predatory behavior. Even if they had first met when she was 18 and he was 31, it would still be predatory and gross. The difference in maturity makes this relationship really uncomfortable. Legally, she is an adult. She is 18. But legality and morality do not always align, and it is not moral for someone that old to be with someone that fucking young. End of story. It's gross. I can really only get behind an age gap this drastic if the love interest is of an alien species or a god or something that ages much slower or is immortal, and the main character and love interest meet each other when the main character is well into adulthood, so mid-20s to early 30s, and this is because that is pure fiction. As far as we as a species are aware, gods do not exist. Aliens that we could be with romantically or sexually do not exist, and immortality does not exist. It's not real. However, a mortal man being predatory towards a barely legal woman is very real. That's too fucking real, and to be romanticizing it is gross. Has anyone been seeing those TikToks of people explaining the story of how their grandparents or great-grandparents got together? That's what this is. That's the vibes I get from this. That type of age gap is not romantic or cute. Doesn't matter if you make them soulmates, it's gross and predatory. I'm pretty sure I've gone on like 7 different tangents about the age gap, but I can't stop, man. It's so fucking weird, and people like this book. How can I stay silent about this when people are actively praising this author for writing this? I can't. I gotta yell about it and call out not only the author, but everyone who fucking reads I Am the Luna and thinks it's such a cute and romantic love story. It's not. You guys are just fucking freaks. And not the fun kind of freaks either. The type of freak that needs to be put in prison. This makes me scared to look at her other books. I Am the Luna is her most recent book. If this one is this bad, how bad are the others? She has, I think, like 18, 20 other books, and just like I Am the Luna, they are all very highly rated by those who have taken the time to read the books and leave a review. I've only seen 2 of her books rated lower than 5 stars, but it's not by much. They're rated 4.5 stars. Okay, back on topic. Now, the actual writing isn't awful, all things considered, but just because it's not my immortal levels of bad doesn't mean it's good. If anything, it's just boring. It reads like every middle schooler's Wattpad fanfiction ever written. If I wasn't so horrified by the main couple's bullshit, I would be bored to tears. I have read more engaging and interesting fanfiction about Buggy the Clown from One Piece. Now, I want to talk about the book cover because it bothers me a lot. There's 2 different covers for I Am the Luna, and both are just honestly ugly and cluttered. You can't even really see the title of the book on the second cover. There is way too much going on. They're so cluttered and eye-straining, I can't really pick a spot to focus on. I even went and asked some people in my Discord server what they thought, and let me just read to you some of the responses. It's like over-designed, but also looks like AI generated. The second one is especially bad. I can't even read the fucking title. My eyes are fighting for something to pay attention to. What the fuck? Focus on the forehead. It's the only safe space. Play tic-tac-toe on that thing. Good God, this shit reeks early 2010s. And yes, they did actually start playing tic-tac-toe on Zaya's forehead. With each addition to the board, the quality got worse. It was glorious. Not all of Moonlight Muse's book covers are super bad. The ones for Her Forbidden Alpha and His Caged Princess look okay, but the ones where the characters are looking right at you do not look good. It's a very uncanny valley feeling, and I dislike it. They don't look like real people, they have zero expression, they're very stiff looking, and it's not great to look at. I think I'm going to be taking a look at Moonlight Muse's other books to see what the fuck is going on with them, since they're all finished and not nearly as long as I Am the Luna. I'm debating on if it would be cheaper to buy the chapters on Good Novel or just buy physical copies of her current books, because yes, you can buy physical copies, and once I'm finished highlighting the hell out of them and taking notes, I could put them on a shelf of shame. But also, I don't want to give this author any sort of money. She gives me bad vibes. I'm on the fence about it. If you want to read the whole thing yourself, you can find I Am the Luna on goodnovel.com. Do not go and harass the author. I know this shit is weird, and you want to say something about it, but let's keep the comments to this video. If you harass her, I'm going to get blamed for it. So let's not do that, okay? Okay, cool. If you guys have anything to add, feel free to express your thoughts on this lovely piece of literature in the comments below. And hey, if we all got something out of this, it was the hope that if this woman could publish barely legal werewolf fiction and become a well-liked author, then you too can succeed in your book publishing dreams. Never back down, never give up. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed. This is my first time trying this format to go over something I've read. I took inspiration from YouTubers like Lexi, aka Newly Nova, with Cindy, Nikki Carrion, and Morpho when making this video, just to try something different from my usual read and react to every chapter of something, and hopefully I did okay. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you are new, and check out all my social medias linked down in the description below. I'll also leave a link to all of the YouTubers I just mentioned in the description and pin comment if you want to go look at them. I'm Yuji, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.